Welcome back to the deep dive. There's that brief moment of relief when a security patch finally rolls out.
Oh yeah, the we're safe moment.
Exactly. You think, okay, crisis averted. But for the attackers, that patch isn't a finish line. It's more like a starting gun.
It's a roadmap for them. The moment the fix is public, they are dissecting it, racing to find every single unpatched system out there.
It's this perpetual race, and that's exactly what our source material is about today. We have a stack of articles on a really critical, actively exploited flaw in these SonicWall secure mobile access appliances, the SMA 1000 series.
Right, these are the digital gatekeepers for so many companies. So today our mission is pretty clear. First, we need to unpack the main vulnerability, CVE 2025-40602.
Then we get into the really scary part.
The technique. It's not just one flaw, it's a chain. And finally, we'll connect this whole incident to the bigger picture. Timely patching, automated threats, all of it.
Okay, let's dive in. This SonicWall SMA 1000 series, this is VPN access for potentially thousands of users. A compromise here is a huge deal. So what exactly is CVE 2025-40602?
At its core, it's a local privilege escalation issue.
Okay, break that down for us. Local implies they already have to be inside somehow.
That's the key. They need a foothold first, even a small one. But once they're in, this flaw lets them, elevate their permissions to something much more powerful.
Like getting into a building with a janitor's key.
And then using that key to somehow open the CEO's office. That's a perfect analogy. You're escalating from low-level access to, the highest level.
So what's the technical root cause? What failed?
The problem is what's called insufficient authorization. It's happening right inside the appliance management console.
The brain of the device.
Pretty much. The system just isn't properly checking who's allowed to do what. So a lower-level user account can be tricked into getting permissions it should never have.
And we should probably give credit to the researchers who found this. Their work is what got the ball rolling.
Absolutely. This was discovered by Clément, Lecigne, and Zander work from the Google Threat Intelligence Group. And to their credit, SonicWall did respond quickly.
So fixes are available?
Yes, in newer platform hotfix releases. So if you're running these devices, there is a path forward.
The sources were also really specific about which devices were affected.
Yeah, now that's important. This flaw only hits certain versions of the SonicWall SMA 1000 series. It does not affect their other lines.
Okay, so a narrow scope, but a deep one if you're in it.
If you're running the 1000 series, this is a 5-alarm fire, no question.
And this is where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit terrifying. You said this flaw isn't being used on its own.
Exactly. This is modern, sophisticated attacking. We're talking about vulnerability chaining.
Combining flaws for a bigger impact.
A much bigger impact. They're taking this new privilege escalation flaw, CVE 2025-40602, and they're combining it with, get this, an older, previously patched flaw.
Wait, hold on. A previously patched flaw? How is that even possible? Does that mean the patch didn't work?
It's a great question, and it points to the real issue here. It's not that the patch was bad. It's that people didn't apply it.
So, patch management negligence.
Widespread negligence. The older flaw is CVE 2025-23006. It was fixed. But attackers know that countless organizations just miss a device or forget about an old appliance or simply never get around to it.
So they're weaponizing our own disorganization. The old flaw is the battering ram to get in the door.
And the new flaw is the skeleton key to unlock the master control panel once they're inside.
And what's the end result of that combination?
This is the devastating part. It achieves unauthenticated remote code execution with root privileges.
Okay, let's unpack that. Unauthenticated means?
No username, no password. They don't need credentials. They just get in.
And root privileges. That's the keys to the kingdom.
That is complete, total, unconstrained control over the appliance. You own the brain. And from there, you likely own the entire network it's supposed to be protecting. It's catastrophic.
Do we know anything about who's doing this?
Here.
Or who they're targeting?
The details are still a bit thin, but the sources give us a massive clue. Past campaigns just like this have specifically targeted end-of-life SonicWall devices.
Of course. The ones that aren't getting support or updates anymore.
They're the lowest hanging fruit. If a device is end-of-life, an organization that hasn't upgraded is basically guaranteed to be vulnerable to that older flaw. CVE-2025-23006.
It's the digital equivalent of leaving a rusty old safe in the hallway that you don't use anymore.
And attackers love those forgotten safes.
So if we pull back and look at the bigger picture here, this SonicWall issue isn't just about one vendor. It really speaks to how network defense is being challenged right now.
It really does. I mean, if we connect the dots, the biggest takeaway from this whole thing is the absolute critical importance of timely patching, especially for these perimeter devices. If they fall, everything behind them is exposed.
And the source material points to other really complex threats that are happening at the same time. It feels like attackers are innovating on every single front.
They absolutely are. They're going deeper into the stack. I mean, look at the WatchGuard report that was cited. They also had a flaw in their Firebox firmware being exploited.
So a similar situation.
A very similar situation. But they also warned about something they called ghost vulnerabilities.
Ghost vulnerabilities, that sounds ominous, like a flaw that won't die.
That's basically it. These are flaws that can remain exploitable even if you think you've fixed the problem, like by deleting a mobile VPN configuration.
How does that happen?
A weakness gets baked into a non-volatile part of the configuration file. So you clean up the interface, you think you've removed the attack vector, but the ghost of that flaw is still lurking deep inside the system, ready to be exploited.
That is a nightmare. It means patching isn't enough. You have to do a deep audit of the entire configuration.
Exactly, and it gets even deeper than that. The sources also mention a threat that goes way below the operating system, a major motherboard bug.
Right, the UEFI bug. Affecting some huge manufacturers, too. Asus, Gigabyte.
ASRock, MSI. I mean, this is the firmware that boots your machine. It's as fundamental as it gets.
So why is a UEFI bug so much more dangerous than, say, a normal software bug?
Because it executes before your operating system, before your antivirus, before your firewall, before any of the defenses you rely on even have a chance to load. If you own the UEFI, you own the entire boot sequence.
And the sources mentioned the IOMMU.
The input-output memory management unit, yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful.
Give us the simple version.
Think of it as a memory bodyguard. Its job is to stop hardware devices, like a network card, from just randomly accessing core system memory. It creates safe zones.
And this bug causes that bodyguard to fail.
It causes that protection to fail. And that opens the door for what's called pre-boot code injection. An attacker can slip malicious code in before the OS starts, and is practically invisible to traditional security tools.
Wow. So we have chained attacks at the network edge, ghost flaws in the configuration, and now hardware bugs at the pre-boot level.
And on top of all that, security teams are just drowning in noise.
The bot traffic.
The bot traffic. One of the data points from the sources was staggering. Almost 29% of all web traffic in the third quarter was from bots.
Nearly a third of the internet is just machines talking to machines.
Now, not all of that is malicious. A lot of it is search engine crawlers, good bots.
Yeah.
But it creates this enormous haystack.
Making it almost impossible to find the needle.
Exactly. How do you find a sophisticated, targeted exploit chain, like the one hitting SonicWall, when you're sorting through mountains of just automated background noise?
Okay. So let's bring this all back. For you, the learner, listening to this, what's the immediate action plan? What are the practical takeaways?
The most immediate advice is simple. If you're running one of those SonicWall SMA 1000 series devices, you are strongly advised to apply the hotfix updates immediately.
Not tomorrow, now.
Now, the details of this attack chain are public, so every second you wait is a risk.
But the bigger lesson here isn't just install this one update. It's more about fighting the ghosts of patches past, isn't it?
That is the core lesson. Security appliance management is not just about the latest headline-grabbing flaw. It is about systematically eliminating those older patched vulnerabilities from your environment.
Because if you don't, they become the staging ground.
They become a welcome mat for a much more dangerous attack. That old flaw, CVE 2025-23006, is what lets them get in the door to use the new flaw, CVE 2025-40602. You're giving them the first step for free.
So the real danger is the combination. It turns a forgotten flaw into the entry point for a total system takeover.
Precisely. It's an exploit of patch fatigue and, asset neglect.
So, to quickly recap our deep dive, we have this critical flaw in the SonicWall SMA 1000 series, which, when chained with an older vulnerability, leads to complete unauthenticated root access. And this all exists in a world with deeper threats, like ghost vulnerabilities and UEFI bugs.
Which brings us to a final provocative thought for you. Given that we know nearly a third of all web traffic is now automated bots, and we see how sophisticated these chained attacks are becoming, think about this. If that sheer volume of background noise keeps growing, what new tools or even new philosophies will our security teams need just to filter it all out? How can they possibly detect and prioritize these critical, targeted attack chains before it's too late?
It's like trying to find a needle while someone is actively flooding the entire warehouse with hay. Thank you for joining us for this crucial deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.